This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other? She's making 6 figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially? Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helps me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage, and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
Woo. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes, and boy, I'm walking a mile in my daughter's shoes, my youngest. I had no idea what she was going through when she was living with my soon-to-be ex-wife. I had no idea the bullying that she was suffering at the hands of her sibling. And I'm going to be fair to her sibling. We all can lash out from time to time if we don't deal with what ails us. If we are frustrated, pissed off, angry, frustrated, it's going to come out somehow. It's going to come out possibly, hopefully not, in the form of a substance that's going to be abused. An addiction, gambling, food consumption, sleeping with people non-discriminately, not vetting, not dating with intention, just kind of being out there, going with the party life. There are so many unhealthy ways bullying can manifest as a way to connect or an outpouring of emotion and reaction to the tough spot you find yourself in. And thankfully for my youngest, the sweetheart, she wanted to fall into all of the people that she thought loved her in her life. She wanted to fall into her mom's care and her mom's protection. She wanted to fall into my love, my care, my protection. She wanted her sibling to protect her also. But she learned that, unfortunately, that's not how it works. People protect you if they themselves aren't made vulnerable. So the people that she was hoping that she was confiding honestly with, she didn't realize that those people really didn't care about her. I didn't realize the magnitude of and why she wanted to block her siblings and not speak to them anymore, not speak to her mom anymore. And I'm like, oh, you're really young to have these feelings and thoughts. And as she told me everything that was going on in her life, I'm like, oh, crap. I think I totally get it now. I understand why you... Oh, poor baby. And she's actually really strong, and I would say stronger than me, because I wasn't able to deal with these same people in the same ways that she was. I wasn't able to accept them and still love them and tolerate them, not in perpetuity. I was able to do it, but I did it in a tantrum form. I did it in a frustrated way. Were they frustrating me? Yes. But I didn't have to react frustrated. Were they angering me? Yes. Were they doing things to intentionally anger and gaslight me? Yes. But watching this child find a way to make things better and good is what my therapist calls the same mechanism I found to cope with what was going on with me in my life. I'm like, oh, crap. That's so interesting. I, too, tried to make the best out of my parents having a divorce and then fallouts with my sister and stuff like that and other people in my life. And I never got the hang of it and wasn't able to ever ride that thing like a wave like I watched my daughter. And that's how she's been able to, I think, I'm not asking her, I haven't asked her. And that's something that her therapist is going to hopefully help her work through. and talk through, especially if she thinks she can't talk through it with her dad. And some things you just kind of can't. Some things are just a little bit too inappropriate or wrong to discuss with, a family member in that way. So I know that I needed to work on a lot of my strength. And she's definitely been a teacher for me, whether she knows it or not. And I had to kind of explain to her how she's doing such a good job at exemplifying the tactic on life that I felt that I've always had. I've had a perspective of when you listen to someone speak, I put it through a filter. If half filter. What is that? The if half filter means out of everything that I just heard from that one person, that individual, if half of what they say is true, now what decision will I make? I say, if half of what you say is true, that, my husband slapped me, then kicked me in the nose, then took me to Cabo and tried to beg to get back into my life and put our kids through school, but hoarded all the money. And it doesn't matter. This could go on and on. You know how it is when people tell you these horrible stories about their existence and what was happening in their life and how bad it was. You know how that went. It's like, oh man, let me see. Do I believe half of those things? Do I believe did her husband kick her in the nose? Do I believe that did her husband take the kids to Cabo? Do I believe the husband saved up and paid for everything? Do I believe that he's a bad guy, like she wants me to believe, based on what she said? Do I believe that? And you really find out after you think about that and put it through that filter that, I don't think that half of what you're saying is true. Or I do think that. Then if you do, you're just going to kind of go through, I've been around her husband. And it's like, actually, I've kind of seen her cursing him out a lot. And I've kind of seen her, she's very snappy with him. He tends to acquiesce and he tends to quiet down and not speak as to not offend her, or he doesn't want to anger her. It definitely seems like there's not necessarily a power struggle. He always relents power to her and she always tries to seize it. And then you have to say, let me extrapolate this out. Like, was this really a secretly pummeled and abused woman? Did I just not see it? Or could this person possibly be trying to sell me on facts and details that I know aren't true based on my firsthand experience? Somehow, my very young daughter, she was able to look at all of the data in front of her, what she knew, what she lived with, what she saw, and then the narratives that were being pushed on her. And she always just said, I don't know how she's so mature at such a young age, was able to say, it doesn't sound like my dad. It doesn't sound like anything he would do. I love that kid so much. She's so amazingly awesome. And I've learned a lot from her. And I now continue to just move through life a little more careful. I take my time. I talk to others. I listen to them and I put it through the filter of if half of what you say is true, now how will I move? So, thanks for listening to this diary entry, and I hope you guys come back again and look for that trait in your kids if you have them. Look for that trait in yourself. Are you quick to believe? Are you gullible? I was. Do you hope for things sometimes so aggressively that you may not do the right thing or the best things for yourself? And there's always that possibility. Be careful whenever you're talking to anyone. if half of what they say is true, how will you move? All right, until the next one. I think we're almost there. Got mediation coming up. Maybe we'll have a settlement with the divorce. Sorry, I should probably update you on that. My lawyer called me and said that, yeah, there's going to be the opposing would like a mediation session. I'm like, oh, really? A mediation session? Then I asked my legal team, I said, does that mean that she may want to settle? He's like, yep, that's what that means. So he and I are going to have a discussion about how this is going to go, because I don't think for a minute that we're going to ever be able to come to any sort of agreement of any kind, because what my soon-to-be ex-wife is looking for, asking for, wanting is just horrible, too much. She shouldn't be asking for anything. For one, she shouldn't ask for anything, not with the salary she earns, not with not with the salary she's earned, and not with all that I paid for our home, and then all the decisions that she's made to separate herself from me. You can't both think that I'm a piece of shit and you don't want anything from me, but then you also want half that you've already walked away from. That's not how ethical people behave. But I'm also divorcing and hoping to never talk to her again, because she is also not an ethical person. And those signs couldn't be more clear now. So I'm definitely okay with moving forward. And I definitely will be okay if I even have to just cut some check out of my retirement just to end this whole thing, because this is becoming, it has been extremely expensive, an incredible waste of money on both of our parts. She's in such credit card debt. It's crazy that she's going to continue to spend this money. And seriously, I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. But I see how quickly and easily men can get railroaded with the system. And primarily it's the men, and I'm saying men because men typically earn more money. And for very good reason. Men typically earn more money, because men choose different jobs. Men earn more money a lot of the time because we're wired differently to want to work much longer hours. So even if we have a job that doesn't pay very much, we may work until we can get double time or time and a half, double time, maybe even triple time. We want to earn so we can provide. A woman usually wants to extract resources for her children. Perfectly natural. It's actually exactly the way it's supposed to go. So women that are quote unquote gold diggers, I don't look at them as the devil. I look at them as trying to do the best thing they can for themselves and their offspring. If you're a man listening to this, could you imagine how you would move through life if you were just physically as weak as a woman? You couldn't manipulate the world around you. You couldn't plumb or build or construction or whatever other menial but manual labor jobs are out there. You just don't survive that much. Whenever you get anything, you would just want to keep it and distribute it how you'd like. Ethically, morally, my perspective, whatever, women are not designed to be alone. Women are definitely designed to be in one community, and also women are definitely designed to be in a relationship with a man that is a protector. A woman cannot protect herself from other men. A man is supposed to do that. It's just how it is. I don't make the rules. In this case, I'm just reporting them. So I'm hoping that in this mediation session, my lawyer and I, we're going to have a conversation about it, and I'm going to talk about what to expect, how might this go. I want to see have they proposed something or not. We'll see. So this may be over sooner than later, and I am over the moon knowing that this divorce, this person, this relationship can be in my past, both actively like I'm doing now, but also literally. legally, I should say. I really can't stand that woman. I don't hate her. I see her as the broken soul that she is. I see how the daddy issues have manifested. I see how they've spread to my children. I see how they've hurt the youngest that's with me. I see how I and no other person ever will be good enough. I see how she's never given anyone respect. I think she's adhered, but I don't think she's ever respected anyone. When you respect people, you kind of move differently. Yeah. I hope she finds peace. I hope she finds the help that she needs. I hope she recognizes and realizes that she doesn't need help. I don't know if I wanted to recognize things from the past with me. All I can tell you is that the young lady that I'm talking to now, she kind of made a pivot. She kind of said she wanted to take a step back, which was fine. I didn't necessarily think we were taking any steps forward, especially any significant ones, but maybe the way that I was viewing things was just a little bit different from how she was viewing them. And within a couple of weeks, she kind of reached out again. Hey, I really, well, I mean, she had been saying the entire time, but I still want to be connected, and I want to talk to you, know you, and have you in my life. And I said, okay. I don't understand how big a deal this is, but this is obviously a big deal for you and a big deal to you. And I understood that, especially when she gave me a call back and she's like, I want to be with you. I want this to be a thing. And I'm like, wow. And my therapist, she has reminded me several times, you are a catch. You are. People will look at you and they will see opportunity. Your soon-to-be ex-wife is seeing opportunity. She may even be scared that she really messed up. Even though you guys had a rough time at one time in your marriage, you've had other rough times, and the fact that she's trying to secure all of the friends and take your money and pollute your children's minds, but also request money from you to pay down her enormous debt. She is scared. And she's always telling me to hold her in grace. I had another friend and she said, you're a catch. You have to understand that. And I'm like, what? Obviously my mom has said it before, but that's moms. What else are moms going to say to their sons? And the young lady that I'm talking to also, she's like, you're a catch. And my male friends also, I mean, they've said that as well, but it's a very, it's a no homo way. Just like, man, you're a catch, bro. You gotta understand that, man. You're going to be beating them off with a stick. And I'm like, I don't understand. Well, what I didn't understand was just how low my self-esteem was and still is. I'm not saying that that's because my soon-to-be ex-wife did that to me, hurt me, whatever, but it definitely didn't help. I don't know what my self-worth is if it's always taken from you, and I don't know how smart I am if I'm always being corrected. So yeah, I wish everyone that's been involved in this, I do wish them peace. Like I say about my soon-to-be ex, I don't wish her well, but I don't wish her ill. Just wish that she can be at peace. And hopefully, when she's at peace, hopefully she may find help. She may be honest in therapy. She may rebuild relationships authentically with everyone that she finds valuable in her life. But I am on land. I'm not underwater, so I won't be holding my breath. Peace.
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully, these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.